Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, a very special Friday the 13th edition of My Mom's Basement presented by Barstool Sports. We're not going to be breaking down the Friday the 13th movies. We're not going to be getting spooky either. We're just going to be talking Skeleton Crew, Creature Commandos, I guess a little bit spooky, creatures in that, and a little bit of the news. Clem, how we feeling on this Friday the 13th?
Don't like Friday the 13th. Just
No, me
not a
neither.
good day. It scares me. It's spooky. I do feel like the Christmas spirit can offset the Friday the 13th energy. Today was I said my daughter goes, "Oh, it's like Friday the 13th." I go, "Whoa. Today's Friday the 13th." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I look at my phone. I'm like, "Oh boy. Like this ain't good."
Yeah.
But I feel like it doesn't have the same hold. I guess the movies haven't come out forever. That's probably part of it. But growing up, if it was Friday the 13th, you were looking over both shoulders. But again, I do feel like the Christmas spirit kind of cancels that out. All the joy and goodwill is out
That's
there.
a
So
decent idea for like a Nightmare Before Christmas sequel. Is like it takes place on Friday the 13th before Christmas or something. I had one really bad Friday the 13th in my life. I want to say I was in maybe 7th or 8th grade. All day at school, I was just, hearing the Friday the 13th chatter, kids joking about it, kids teasing each other about it. And I'm thinking, I don't believe in this stuff. I get home from school and the bird that my sister had just purchased maybe 5-10 days prior had killed itself. Clem, the bird committed suicide in its cage on Friday the 13th. It was named Sebastian. My sister got it out of angst because she was told she couldn't get another dog. We already had 2 dogs. She wanted another dog. She was told you can't get another dog. So she went out and bought herself a bird and didn't realize the bird was like paired with another bird. The PetSmart didn't tell her that. So it went on hunger strike when it got separated from its the love of its life, I guess. Killed itself on Friday the 13th. I was like traumatized just hearing this. My mom tells me this whole thing when I get home from school. I say, all right, the only thing I want to do now is go play Call of Duty. I go down to the basement, Red Ring of Death on the Xbox.
oh no. Oh my God. First, I thought you were going to say the bird's head fell off or something like that. I thought that was
No.
going to be.
And it was so recent that we actually returned the bird and got our money back.
That is, I mean, that's a terrible. First of all, I had no clue birds
Terrible.
could
Rest in
like go
peace,
on hunger
Sebastian.
strike because was it a lovebird? I know there are
I don't know. I think
lovebirds.
it was a parakeet or some shit. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. It was like gray and had a little yellow in it, I think.
That's tough, man. That is a hey. I hate to say it though, it is kind of a good Friday the 13th story to have.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
had one really bad one. Like, not everyone could say that.
and the red ring of death, that is, I mean, any gamer can feel it to the heart, even if you're not like, I was never an Xbox guy, but there were other kinds of things that can happen, a PlayStation or different systems
Yeah.
that, or even a blue screen if you're a computer guy. Not It's not Friday the 13th, but I have a cursed day in my life. I don't know if I've ever
Really?
told you this on this podcast. I did delve into it on Podfathers a few times because it's a family day of doom. It's
Oh, is it
September.
a holiday?
No, it's September 16th.
Okay.
September 16th, 20. I had to look it up. I remember the Giants were playing the Cowboys. September 16th, 2018. AJ was about, let's see, what is that? He's like 5 months old at that point. And my wife and Sienna were going out to a playground to meet like another mom and their like kid or whatever to play for a bit. And AJ was going to go, and I was just going to stay home. It was Sunday, so I was going to watch football. And AJ was like sleeping, and we didn't want to wake him up. So I was like, he'll just stay there. They're lumps at that point, 5 months old. So he goes out, drives Sienna, boom, get a call, car accident. They got into the car was totaled. Thank God they were pretty much fine. Sienna had some seatbelt burns. Wifey's knee was a little messed up, but ER, whole thing, obviously traumatizing. Sienna was saying her leg was hurting. I thought it was a broken leg. Oh, everything was fine. But September 16th, boom. Exactly 1 year later. At this point, we're not even thinking this is the anniversary of the car accident. AJ runs in our room as a 1 year old at this point, 1.5 year old, and there was an iron, takes the iron, puts it on his foot. This is when we realized AJ is a wild person that cannot be tamed no matter what. And at this point, he's sleeping usually at that time. So it was like ER visit, whole thing, has like a little scar still to this day. And at that point, it's like, you know, my wife's time hop comes up. She's like, oh, this is the day. So this is 20,
Yeah.
at this point, 2020. She's like, September 16th, 2020. 2020 is not a good year to begin with. So we're like, how the
No.
hell are we going to get screwed this year? And I said, you know what I'm doing? I'm driving the kids. I'm driving AJ to daycare. Sienna's going to go to school. And then I'm not leaving the house for the rest of the day. Right? Boom. Sienna's at school. AJ's at daycare. On the way home from daycare, God's honest truth, I'm driving down the road, quiet little suburban thing. I look up and there's a guy in my lane coming straight at me, flying. I think he's passing a car. And I'm telling you, 3 seconds, I'm done. September 16th takes down the big guy. Luckily, guy went back in his lane. But like, I was like, holy fucking shit, like a light flash before your eyes. So September 16th, knock on all the wood in the world. Sorry for anyone driving the car as I'm banging on the desk. Haven't had anything since, but that is our personal Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's
September
like
16th.
Put the Clemenza family in like a bubble wrap.
Yeah, exactly. And I should look back at the time hop whenever it comes up again to see if anything else like minor happened along those that day. But yeah, bad day in the Fox household, Friday the 13th.
Crazy.
September the 16th. If anyone else has any days that are haunted in their life, let it be known, because those stories fascinate me. Final Destination shit.
Haunted days, yeah. This is not a haunted episode, though. As I mentioned, we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, starting with Skeleton Crew. We have episode 3 premiered on Disney Plus earlier this week. It was the first one that really featured Jude Law. Like, he got to be in the entire episode. I felt like he was a perfect fit for the Star Wars universe. The AT-AT mystery is continuing to grow, continuing to get more interesting. It's only gotten more interesting so far. I loved the escape scene where they blast off out of the dock and they send the fuel line, you know, whipping back, and it's destroying a bunch of shit. Even that behind the back shot of the wolf of like looking out and shit. Great stuff. And we got a Star Wars owl, which I never expected to see in that capacity. I know Ahsoka's got her owl and stuff. There's been like owls, but this was like almost a Harry Potter-esque. It felt, you know, not in that they have the owls that come bringing the messages, but just the fantasy aspect of it. And the owl, did you see who it was voiced by? It was Maybe from Arrested Development.
Oh shit, I had no clue. I was trying to figure out if I knew the voice. I would have never gotten that in a billion years. It did feel like a fantasy owl, and I've seen the first Harry Potter. I don't know if there's an owl in that one, but I was like, feels like a Harry Potter owl. So I don't know if it was okay. So there we go. And I was wondering if Star Wars had owls in canon to begin with. Yeah. So we do. All right. I think I might have heard of Ahsoka's owl, you know, at one point as I was learning my Ahsoka history. But all in all, another great looking episode. We can say that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Really good.
Jude Law is kind of made to play this role as like the Fugazi Jedi, maybe not a Jedi. I mean, there's something up. Though he's not just a straight up fucking illusionist. You know, I feel like there's something like he has some sort of force, right? He has to.
He's got the force. And I don't know if he was like a trainee that went off and instead of becoming, you know, a Sith, like so many stories wind up going down that path, he became a pirate or like something like that, or something must have happened early on in his training, or maybe he was never able to get the training that he needed as a young Padawan because he was on a planet that Jedi never came to or something. There's something more to his story. I said to you, there's no doubt in my mind that by the end of this season, he's abandoning the kids for treasure. They're going to get in trouble and he's going to come back and be the heart of gold. You know, they're going to redo the Han Solo thing with him, and I'm totally fine with it.
Yep. See it from a mile away. And if we're wrong, we're wrong, but I'm expecting to be right. And I'm fine with that. That plays out a million times in Star Wars or in all kinds of movies. So I've liked everything
it's
about
like
poetry,
it so far. You know, it rhymes. I have a couple notes from the episode. I like the opening scene of the parents all sitting there worried about their kids. Reminds me of like School of Rock or movies like this where the kids go off and do some kind of crazy adventure. The parents gang up together.
Little Stranger Things, right?
I get a sus list edition for you. Absolutely. Very Stranger Things. The security droids on AT-AT, big time sus list. I don't like how their heads are legitimately just security cameras like we would see on Earth. That is too on the nose, where I think the security of the planet there's something evil about them. There's something a little sinister about them.
It's almost like their like names would be like BIGBRO, like Big Brother, right? Like
Yeah.
it feels very on the nose about 1984 kind of shit. Some dystopian, in paradise, it's a paradise because the government has you under their thumb kind of thing.
Yeah. Jude Law's character name, Jod Na Nawood. It doesn't roll right off the tongue. It could get there. It's one of those Star Wars names that's going to have to sit with us for a little bit. But Jude Jod, that's easy.
The way they were saying it too went a little smoother, but I don't think a fan can say it nearly as much.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna have to watch like a couple more episodes, and then it'll like kind of the cadence will start clicking with me.
Agreed.
Then when they were escaping and they were going through and they were kind of like, this feels too easy. They're going to the ship. There's a quick Star Tours pod in the bay, which I thought was a really cool Easter egg. Yeah, someone posted the little thing on Twitter. People are going nuts for it. When Jod is going back for SM-33, which that was one of those things where it's like, you got to just like believe that this pirate would listen to the kids and go back for their robot. Really funny scene where SM-33 is talking to him and he's like, and then he comes back and he hits him with one more I really like this like pirate droid with has a worm in his eye and shit. Really like this character. When he runs into one of his old pals who's like, I'm gonna have to report you to security. This guy's name was Benjar Pranik, and he was voiced by Alfred Molina. So I believe this marks Alfred Molina's first return to a Lucasfilm project since Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1980.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if he ever voiced someone in Clone Wars or something, but I don't think he did.
That character I liked. The pirate characters are all just interesting. And I'm sure if you really, some of them wouldn't be really dive deeply, but there's a few that I'm like, it's the Ravagers. It's the fucking Ravagers in my mind. I just dig them. I dig the Ravagers.
And then the only other thing I had was the kids were shooting at X-Wings like they were ready to commit murders and homicides at the end. Like it was kind of crazy. The X-Wings at the end, they were like, yeah, we weren't going to shoot at the ship. Like they'd had kids on board. And I was kind of like, oh shit. Like, all right. Yeah. The New Republic, they're doing the right thing there. The kids were having a blast giggling in the gunner seat. It's like, you know, there's humans in there, right? You know, you're about to shoot people like that. Yeah. But everything about it, I'm still in on. I love the mystery. I hope the mystery continues to expand and get as interesting as it feels right now. But yeah, I'm way in on Skeleton Crew after 3 episodes.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think. Like we had Andor, which we loved. Like I do feel like Star Wars is having a nice little run here. We're not going to talk about the other one we didn't like, but I'm pretty fucking I'm very happy. It's essentially hitting the floor and then some of what we were hoping it would be. And as long as they just keep that rolling. Now, do we know how many episodes it is?
I think it's 8. I want to say it's 8 total. And I know, as I mentioned last week, Bryce Dallas Howard's doing episode 6. That's the one I feel like we could all really look forward to. They probably like at this point when they're offering episode, it is 8 episodes. When they're offering episodes to directors, they probably sort of want to save the best episodes for their best directors, like Bryce Dallas Howard. So that's the one where, you know, stay tuned. I feel like it's going to get crazy there. Maybe you bring Hondo in there. Maybe you do something crazy. You could, if you wanted to, you could bring the Mandalorian in. It's very unnecessary in this show. It feels disconnected enough where it's its own thing. But who knows? It's the same timeline.
Yeah, and all the little references, like you said, the Star Tours, the Captain EO thing. I'm honestly like, it's either one of the biggest tips of the cap to a franchise in history, or it's just a flat out prequel. I don't know which one to believe. I kind of would like to see how it all plays out first. My other thing that I like about this show is it's been 3 episodes, and I feel like we have it's not stale at all. It's just we keep moving and jumping, which is great because I do think some of the Star Wars stuff we started a planet, we end up in a planet, we're in that planet for 4 episodes, we're in another planet for 2 episodes, end of series. This I feel like we are just kind of they're keeping you on your toes, and I honestly the next 5 episodes or whatever, I do feel like could be in 5 different settings with 5 completely different stories that somehow all tie together. Sold.
Absolutely.
You
And then
can't
we
say
had
we hate fucking
another.
Star Wars. You can't say we hate Star Wars.
No.
We're giving them their due. When they're bad, we're gonna say it. When we're good, we're gonna say it. Bob, you know what I actually what was I was watching it was something about Game of Thrones, and they were talking about the final season, and people were like, yeah, that just really got bad. And I'm thinking, we got fucking roasted on Game of Stools for hating that from the fucking jump. And I just get so mad that people were hating on us for disliking something. I think we're very fair here at Barstool about whatever we may like. Some people are going to be skewed in what they think of stuff. And I just feel like we've been fair to Star Wars, and I got to give them credit. Kathleen Kennedy getting a W here. You have to give her the W.
Couple W's. I did see we just passed the anniversary of when she announced like 10 projects, and like only 5 of them got past the, pre-production stage even. So it was like,
oh, really? I didn't see that.
still, it's like, I don't know what to give her credit for, what to not give her credit for. That's such a back and forth in my mind. But yeah, the projects need to get off the ground just as this ship got out of that starport.
Nice.
We got another good episode this week of Creature Commandos, another easy episode to watch, and one that we were texting about last night. We were like, oh, we could watch Creature Commandos for the episode. Yeah. I said, I'm going to throw it on right now. And it took me about 5 minutes to text you and be like, oh my God, this is awesome. Because we have an awesome cold open. The whole episode focuses on the Tin Man, GI robot, killing Nazis. It's what we said we wanted out of him last week. We just wanted to see him kill Nazis. We got the flashback. We got to see him with Sergeant Rock and the gang. And it was a bunch of Nazi killing the entire episode.
It was beautiful. I truly, sincerely hope it can't be the end of our boy, right? They got to bring him
it
back.
Can't be.
Because I do understand with these Suicide Squad-ish teams, you can just kind of make them not replaceable, but you can kill a few off just so you are always on your toes that they're not going to survive every episode like you would with like a Superman or a Batman. But damn, like if you're going to kill one, don't kill the fucking Nazi killing robot. Like let him be the last man standing. I fucking loved it. And I feel like this won't be the last time. I think Creature Commandos will especially be James Gunn's canvas that he can do whatever the fuck he wants on. Superman, they're going to have some notes, or potentially if he goes a little off the deep end with some stuff, they're going to have to pull him back because it's Superman. It's a huge franchise. The stuff when he goes to the guy with the cats and he's like, these people really want to just bring the country back. That was James Gunn's, certain types of people that, I mean, let's be honest. They have the Nazi symbol. They're Nazis. And I was like, all right, this is James Gunn's going to have a couple political takes or just takes in general on this show. I think that was a glimpse into it. And it was beautiful. It reminded me of when he just lights that room up, the car in Breaking Bad, when the fucking machine gun just mowed down all the Nazis. I saw your tweet.
That was good.
I might just go watch that scene again. Again, nothing's better than just watching Nazis just fucking get taken off the earth. So shout out.
I was thinking today I was going to watch an Indiana Jones movie. I think I'm going to do Last Crusade later on today. So we're on the same wavelength there. I did say in my tweet, it's so similar in the ragtag creature monster team in Guardians and the Suicide Squad that I almost wonder what made him want to do this. What gave him the itch to be like, I want to write a 10-episode animated series to kick off my universe that isn't Suicide Squad, but kind of feels like Suicide Squad. It's more fantastical kind of. It's instead of Rick Flag taking this group of creatures through, it's Rick Flag's dad. It's like, it's so similar that I don't know what made him be like, we have to do a Creature Commando thing. But it is a good platform to introduce characters like Sergeant Rock in the way that they did, where you don't really get to see him, but it's just GI Robot was part of his crew and stuff. And I mean, they're bringing in Frank Grillo. He's going to be in Superman, Rick Flag's dad, and he's going to be in Peacemaker season 2. So I guess it's like just a way to branch off. But that intrigues me a little bit. Like I would love to get James Gunn in the basement and say, what made you really want to do Creature Commandos? Do you love those comics? Like, I'm sure he's answered it in an interview before I could dig up, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like he was like, DC was like, all right, James, like, what do you want to do? How do you want to map this all out? And he's like,
but honestly, who's DC? He's DC.
That's true. All right, whoever like owns DC, the fucking higher ups, the Zaslav, the fucking moron who lost the NBA for TNT, whoever it may be. And he's like, I want to do Suicide Squad. And like, well, we brought you in for Suicide Squad. You have the job. We can't do another Suicide Squad. We had to reboot it for you. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to do Creature Commandos. I'm going to do Suicide Squad. It's in a different name,
new label on it.
Yeah, I think that's all it is. Like the fact, like you said, the fact it's the same fucking family leading the group. Like there has to be something there with it. And he's like, honestly, I'm going to just I'm going to cook James Gunn style, and you're just going to let me do what you want. It's going to be animated. And honestly, no one gives a fuck about this stuff. It's just something about when a movie comes out, that's when people get upset about certain things you might say or do. But a series, probably not as much. An animated series, it's only the sickos watching that shit usually.
Yeah. All right, let's tell everyone about Game Time, and then we can get into some nerd news. And of course, we'll end the episode with Surviving Barstool. But first, Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this season. And when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. I always say this, one of the best gifts that you can give someone is tickets to something, because you get a gift in the moment, and then you have something to look forward to, and then you have an additional gift when you actually get to go to the event. One of the best Christmas gifts I ever got was tickets to my first WrestleMania 29. I got to look forward to that till April, got to see Undertaker versus CM Punk at MetLife. It was a night that I will remember forever. You know how much we love Game Time now with their brand new Game Time Picks feature. They're making it even easier to get to a game. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I was just looking Game Time's website right now. If you wanted to go to Ravens at Giants at MetLife this Sunday, $36. How about System of a Down just announced this huge sold out show with Korn that they're doing next summer in August? $91 gets you in there. Jingle Ball Friday the 13th at MSG, $210 gets you in. Game Time is the absolute best. They make it incredibly easy. Just go to their website, gametime.co, or pull up the app and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Create an account, use the code MMB, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code MMB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game Time. We love Game Time. All right, we've got some news, some bizarre news this week, and some stuff that we broke down on the rundown, actually, with Large yesterday. We had a fun trio of us on the rundown, and we talked about Jeremy Allen White being cast in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Cast as who, you ask? ROTTA the HUTT, Jabba the Hutt's son. One of the strangest things you could ever imagine. But apparently it's a true story. I had to check multiple times. I said it on the rundown. I actually had to check multiple times and make sure it was real.
I mean, that's what any good journalist would do. You find your source, you double source, triple source if need be. And that's what you're getting with barstoolsports.com when Robbie Fox writes it. Probably not. But in this case, it's one of those you have to do it, because just because some random Twitter account that has a bunch of followers posts one of those little, image news things with the big word, fired, hired, whatever it may be. Ass. I love how we have the ass pictures now. It honestly, again, I said it on the rundown, it just feels like this is Jeremy, his agent, and himself being like, you have to check off the boxes when you hit a certain size of celebrity, and it's like, just get a big fat check for kind of a side role, by no means an important starring role in a Disney project. So that could be the MCU, that could be Star Wars, that could be whatever it may be. In this case, it's Star Wars, it's a side character. It feels very weird, because that dude, the last thing I think of when I see Jeremy Allen White with his shirt off is, that's a HUTT. That's the first.
He's rumored to look buff. That was part of the report. What does that even mean? A buff HUTT? A buff? What is a buff HUTT? That could be the name of a band. We're the Buff Hutts.
The Buff Hutts. Yeah. Wow. You guys just heard the real Robbie laugh right there. That one was from the soul. That was deep in Robbie's soul. I like it.
So yeah, that's going to be strange. I said in my blog, and I said on the rundown, it's weird to imagine him as a HUTT, but it's also weird to imagine Bradley Cooper as a space raccoon. And when you listen to Rocket Raccoon, you don't really think of Bradley Cooper. So maybe this is just going to work out for the best. Maybe he's going to have a line where he demands his chef make him something. Give a little nudge to the bear. Maybe he calls the Wookiee the bear. He's like, get the bear over here. And then Black Chrysanthemum comes in or some shit. We'll see. I'm excited for that movie still. We talked about this as well. It's the first movie since The Rise of Skywalker. They know they need to nail this. They have to land one with this. They have to bring us back to Star Wars in theaters and make us feel enthusiastic about it again. If anyone could do it, it's probably Favreau and Filoni. They did that with the first season, second season, The Mandalorian in general.
Yeah, I'll be very because I forget that that's the last movie that was out there. And again, Last Jedi, extremely divisive movie. In a weird way, The Rise of Skywalker brought everyone together, and everyone's like, "Fuck that movie!" No matter
Yeah,
what you thought of Episode 8, everyone hated Episode 9.
to
It's
bring in the Breaking Bad reference like you did before, they kind of went half measures on The
yeah,
Rise of Skywalker, and we were like, nah, just whole ass one thing.
yeah. Just make half of us happy and make the other half of us furious instead of just making us all like a mix of furious and almost like indifferent by the end. It's like, all right, whatever. Like this shit was cooking back in the 70s and 80s. That was a very long time ago, you know?
Yeah,
And again, this is after the prequels, which my generation I feel like despises, but the new
mhm.
the younger generation, your generation's like, we fucking love them. They were awesome. It's like, well, I guess they were kind of kids movies. Didn't make a lick of sense for like the first 2.5 episodes. But hey, like the prequels were known as like the absolute dog water of the Star Wars universe for a while, and it's kind of had a renaissance. And now these sequels are kind of known as the dog water. Which, by the way, for the record, I still liked Force Awakens. I really, really liked
I
it.
love The Force Awakens. Obviously, I'm a Last Jedi stan. And honestly, I like The Rise of Skywalker. There's just so many decisions in it that I have to do mental like hurdles to jump over in my brain. And I really hate the Raylo kiss at the end. That like, oh, gives me
Yeah,
shivers up my spine.
it's like when I blog when I used to blog the Mets when the Wilpons owned the team. This is the sports analogy of the week, and it's like, all right, we got Dylan Betances, and I'm writing a blog on Christmas Eve about how Dylan Betances was our special gift, and I'm so excited, and I could see how this will make us a great team, and I know I'm just kind of trying to make chicken salad
Yeah.
out of chicken shit kind of a thing. So now it's like now that I have Juan Soto, it's like this is easy to convince myself he's good.
Oh no,
All the
he
other
stinks.
stuff.
He's no good. Chris Evans is back for Avengers Doomsday, possibly as Nomad. And people are making a big deal out of this. He might be playing Nomad. He was basically Nomad in Infinity War. To my understanding, Nomad is just the persona that Captain America takes when he's like not officially working for the Avengers because of, whatever, the Sokovia Accords or whatever it may be. So I think they just mean as the Infinity War version of his character, maybe with the fucking double shields and the beard. I don't know. But this was a story that broke. The fact that it broke makes me think it's more than a cameo, that he's going to be like part of the marketing because this got out so early. I mean, it didn't even get out that he was going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine. So I think that not that they wanted to put this out there, but they weren't keeping it super close to the chest. It's something that I figured would happen. And some people are saying it's desperate Marvel bringing him back, just like they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back. I vividly remember leaving Endgame and people going, "Oh, you think we'll ever see them again? Like, was that really the last time we'll ever see them?" And a bunch of us said, "I think we'll see him for maybe Secret Wars." That's the only thing I could bring him back. We're in the Secret Wars saga. I know that Doomsday isn't Secret Wars, but it might as well be with Infinity War and Endgame being part of the same thing. This is exciting to me. Like, if we're bringing back Robert Downey Jr., if you're going there, again, no half measures. Go all the way. If we're ending the variant multiverse saga with this, let's go all the way, make it WrestleMania. I want to see Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. face off on screen one more time.
You know, it's funny you bring up WrestleMania because as soon as you said that, I thought of The Rock versus Hogan, where I'm like, man,
Yeah.
they brought back one of them is just like, all right, we have to just stop with this, but it's gonna tickle your fucking fancy,
Look
just
at
like year.
this year. They brought back The Undertaker to choke slam The Rock. It was like that was in the main event of Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. So, yeah, you could hand off the baton to Shang-Chi and whoever the new villain may be. But in the time being, give us some fan service, the stuff that we love.
Also, like, let's be honest here. Like, Marvel has to hit a home run with Secret Wars, right?
Yes.
There's not a lot of players on the bench that are going to be able to hit that home run because all the like they've just ruined so many characters and movie franchises in the last what has it been 5 years since Endgame? Like, there's like Shang-Chi is an example. He had his movie. People were like, all right, this guy could be cool. I want to see like where he goes from here. Haven't heard from him since. And it's been
Yeah.
that way with so many people where it's like either their franchises were despised, like they can't be like, all right, we're gonna have She-Hulk really run the show here because they know they're just gonna get review bombed, right? It's like
Yeah.
there's so many things that I just feel like you kind of got to go back to the well. If like once you had Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, that kind of like made it like, all right, everything can go now. Like, who gives a flying fuck? Like you said, if he's Nomad, if he's Cap, I always like something with a moon base. I wouldn't mind that just because what show were they talking about him on the moon base at this point?
I
I
think
can't
that was
even.
Falcon and Winter
I think
Soldier.
you're right. Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
with Danny
So
Ramirez, and they could even tease that in the new one, the new Captain America. You know, like tease another. Where is old Steve Rogers? And in Endgame, they introduced a tool that could send time through people. You just put
that's
old
true.
Steve Rogers in that machine, send time through him, and we've got Prime Cap back.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Fury just throws him through there, gets young Cap back in his prime, shield or no shield. It fucking works. And again, maybe Sam has to have the shield to be Cap, so that's why we get Nomad, right?
Yes, yeah,
So I think it
that's
works.
probably what they're doing there. Like Captain America is, we have Captain America. Then you have, he's not going to call himself that, but we have Steve Rogers.
And let's call a spade here with Secret Wars. They made a fucking masterpiece with Infinity War and then Endgame. That's like when you have your paint colors and everything is still like fresh. At this point, the paint, like all the brushes have gone, everything's just turning brown
Yeah.
and gross. We're just trying to make the best. Like the Russos are trying to make the best out of what they have. They don't really have a lot, and it's like there's not enough time from the Fantastic Four. The X-Men won't be introduced by that point. There's just so much shit that like is gonna, I think, make the MCU, God willing, better, that they just don't have right now. So they got to like just bring it back. I mean, the only person they obviously can't do is the original Black Panther because he fucking passed away, unfortunately. Everyone else, I feel like, is an open possibility. I think they do some cool shit with the Hulk. That could be because we haven't seen Hulk do cool shit in a long time at this point.
And maybe not the Hulk's son, because when they brought him in, he just looked very strange.
Definitely not the Hulk. If you want to kill the Hulk's son, I think that would probably go over
just
pretty
pretend
well.
the Hulk's son never existed. Pretend he never brought him to that weird family barbecue.
Oh God, that was so bad.
Things that are not bad. The Invincible season 3 trailer. I'm gonna pull it up right here as we're talking about it. Looks pretty good. It does do that one thing that I talked about Creature Commandos doing last week, where there's like 3D elements in the 2D cartoon that threw me off almost immediately. But I thought the trailer overall looked pretty good. Obviously violent, gruesome, more of the same from the first 2 seasons. And we got my guy Alan the Alien, some of him. Yep. Also, they said, I believe, that they're not doing a mid-season break for season 3.
Yeah, and we know it's probably a good move because I think everyone was pretty goddamn
that annoyed the hell out of all of us.
I appreciate how we're like Invincible looks like he's changing because the thing is, in every other universe, I like how he's like a bad guy, and maybe he does end up becoming a bad guy down the road here. But then with his brother or half brother Omni, what do you call him, Omni Man 2 or something like that?
And
the guy who made the costume was like, "Oh, you told me that was for Oliver." Like, I like how they remix that. I mean, the thing about Invincible, I do feel like it's the same. We get evolutions to the story, but we kind of just, it goes to the same, just brutal, just beating up. Maybe it's because I don't have as much invested in that universe, but I love it. Can watch the show. It's kind of like a Creatures Commando for me, though, in terms of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, agreed. And it's like we talked with Large about the length, the runtime of Creature Commandos, and he wanted it to be longer. I prefer it to be nice and short. Invincible is a little longer, and I'm fine with that for great episodes, but it sometimes can feel like a drag to me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's why I still would put it. We've talked about it with The Boys, the 2 Amazon superhero parody type shows. I still put it below The Boys.
Yeah, me as well. It's great in its own right, but yeah, I think it's 100%. And the gratuitous just violence. At some point, I'm like, seeing this like 7. The guy's
there was some crazy violence in Creature Commandos this week.
Yes,
there's like some Saving Private Ryan stuff with them putting the guts back in them and faces blown off, eyes going every which direction.
I feel like James Gunn's like, I'm going to get the super violent stuff for when I kill the Nazis, which again always plays in my mind.
Well,
always plays.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the new Indiana Jones, this isn't really a news topic, but the new Indiana Jones game is supposedly amazing. It's getting like Game of the Year buzz. Wow. It's like first person, and like that seemed weird to me, but people are saying the animatics are great. I've seen some of them, the sequences in between you playing the game. It is really good. Troy Baker does the voice, who does a bunch of iconic video game voices. He did the voice of Joel in The Last of Us. And Harrison Ford came out at the Video Game Awards last night to like give him praise on his performance. He was like, if I knew you were going to do that good a job, maybe I would have done it myself. It's like, bro, if Harrison Ford is praising your performance as Indiana Jones, he was like saying, over my dead body, anyone else would portray him, and I'm sure that's on screen and he's fine doing voices, but pretty impressive stuff. And it's not out for PlayStation yet. Everyone keeps asking me because I'm such a big indie guy, have you played the game? It's only out for Xbox till like April. So I got to wait till then.
So how come it came out first?
It was like supposed to just be like an Xbox exclusive for a little bit.
Okay.
Supposed to entice you to buy an Xbox, I think.
That's fair. Like you said, in Harrison Ford giving any kind of like acknowledgement of one of his characters, let alone a compliment, is just a huge win all around. I think that would be like their tagline. Harrison Ford actually acknowledged our existence. I didn't even know about it until I saw you were talking about it. So I'm not an indie guy like you, but I think that there is definitely a huge market for that game. I think it's going to crush.
Oh my God. Adventure puzzle games. Like there was an article that basically said like dead franchises, which I didn't like them calling indie a dead franchise, but they said dead franchises should live on like this through video games and animation and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome the way. And if you make it good, people will watch, people will buy, whatever it may be. I sent you the Game of Thrones game, which I thought was pretty sweet. But then it sounds like
great.
Potentially a mobile only game, which I mean looks better than something you put on like a PlayStation or an Xbox. So I don't know if that's possible. The Kingsguard, I believe it's called.
Yeah, and the way so good, and then people are saying it's a mobile game.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? So I don't know how that's possible or if that's true, but like it seems like you deal with like the Thrones characters. You see Jon Snow, you see Varys.
Yeah.
I think you're like a northern bastard, which I mean, I feel like the Northerners are the most commonly beloved characters in the show, right? Like everyone fucks with the North.
Yeah.
So because of that, like I'm very interested. If it's mobile, not nearly as interested. I just
not interested at all if it's mobile.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I'm happy you said it, Bob. I was trying to be nice, but I'm with you.
Yeah.
I am so fucking. I have actually a newish iPad that I got, I think, last year. That if it's really good, maybe I fire it up on there and try to become an iPad gamer. I don't see that happening though.
No.
And you said Game of the Year with the Indiana Jones buzz. I will just do let's close a little Turtle Beach recommendation corner. I haven't played it yet. I got it for the kids for Christmas. They're going to find out in a couple weeks. I heard this game, Astrobot, for PS5 is absolutely fucking incredible. And I bought it. And then last night I saw like 100 tweets. They won like every award. They basically.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so, I haven't even heard of it.
There is a game, it's called Astro something that like came out, I think, when the PS5 came out. And it's this fun little robot guy. He's like a white robot. He's kind of like, I think, PlayStation's newish mascot almost. Like he's like Crash Bandicoot. Like I think they're trying to make him the guy. The game is fun as fuck. It's very basic, very simple. You can play a million different things. You can use your controller a million different. It's very cool. So when I heard this game came out, I was like, you know what? The other game was awesome. And I've heard my brother bought a PlayStation just to play this game. So that is your recommendation for Christmas if you want to buy yourself a nice.
I got to get on that. I still got to play Star Wars Outlaws. The reason I bought a PlayStation 5, I still haven't even played it, but I've been waiting to play it because I'm going to play it on stream one day. I just haven't gotten the stream set up. That's definitely a goal for the new year, 2025 video game streams. I've said that forever, but I swear I'm going to make it happen. Hold me accountable, people.
Just cross off the 4 for your goal. The 2024 goal was that, and just put the 5. I think that might go back to 23 as well.
Yeah. We might get a Superman trailer next week as well. I know we were talking about it being attached to Mufasa or something, but I did want to alert everybody that it could be next week. And James Gunn also said it's not a very long teaser. So he didn't say don't expect much, but I would say don't expect much. And then maybe it'll exceed our expectations, but go in with like, we might get like 20 seconds.
I don't want just nothingness though. I want something. I don't want just a logo and a couple voices in the background and then a date. You got to give me something. I'm not saying
you think they used the Williams score for the first teaser. I would do it. Even if you transition to the new score, I would give us a tease of it. Because I feel like it just like triggers something in your brain that evokes like positive thoughts. You're just like, oh, this is a good teaser just because it's John Williams music.
It's like making the whole plane out of black box. What if you just make a whole movie out of John Williams scores? And it's like it could be the biggest dog shit script ever, but you're just like, oh my God, I feel so many great emotions inside. I think that might work.
Let's tell everyone about Celebrity Mint before we get into the final segment of the episode, Surviving Barstool Talk. So everyone make sure, if you're not up to date, we're going to spoil Surviving Barstool. First, let's tell everyone about Celebrity Mint. They're leaving their mark on the collectibles industry, merging the worlds of sports memorabilia and precious metals. Founded in 2023, this innovative brand is redefining traditional collectibles by introducing the first legal tender trading coins featuring iconic moments from the world's biggest names in sports and pop culture. If you go to my Instagram or the My Mom's Basement TikTok, you can see me unboxing 2 Celebrity Mint packages featuring Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, honoring the fight that they just had. It's got their autographs on the cards. Very, very cool stuff. Precious metal, chibi collectibles. They depict the most iconic moments from the world's most notable sports icons. They've got Pete Rose, Ric Flair, Mike Tyson, a bunch of absolute legends. With the new releases, they're revolutionizing the way that fans and collectors commemorate their favorite icons. And My Mom's Basement listeners can visit celebritymint.com/Tyson-Paul and use the code Robbie10, ROBBIE10 for 10% off. Visit celebritymint.com to sign up and be the first to know when new products drop. Great stuff.
The live on the rundown, Large pulled up the Ric Flair. I was like, this thing is fucking awesome. And we're like, there it is.
You wanted to steal it from Dave, yeah.
As as great a product placement as you could do, and it wasn't even an ad. It was just true, uncut from the gut.
So Surviving Barstool. Again, spoilers for this week's episodes of Surviving Barstool. It's fun to recap these, Clem, I got to say. Especially now that I'm out, it's almost more fun because I'm not worried that I'm going to spoil that I didn't win. But this week, Mincy and Clemmer went home. They were the 2 in the last 2 nights. Who was the first night? Did we have 2 eliminations on Tuesday? Because they still hadn't merged yet. I think we had 2.
Was it did you go? Was that Wallow or was Wallow?
Gilly? Gilly was after me. And
Gilly,
White Sox Dave, right?
Gilly and
Who
White Sox
had
Dave,
an
correct.
incredible quote. White Sox Dave when he said, "Francis, you're dead to me. Rhea, you were never even alive to me." I was like, what? What does that even mean, White Sox Dave? But that really made me laugh. There was a lot of great moments this week, a lot of great challenges. Last night's challenge was fucking WrestleMania. These boys were walloping each other in the face with the gladiator poles, the little Q-tip type things, but they weren't like soft little Q-tips. I mean, some of those shots, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they had concussions.
Francis is like, I have a concussion. I don't feel good. I'm like, oh man, it sucks, Francis. But it's kind of like with football. It's so fucked up. You're like, he'll be all right though. And he's like, yeah, if I puke, you guys have to, get me. Because last time I woke up in an ambulance. I'm like, oh, it's kind of scary. And then did he say he was like paralyzed or something?
He was having a seizure, he said.
Seizure. That's what it was. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like at that point, I'd be shook.
Big Cat went up against Biz, the guy who just took on fucking 17 Irish travelers in a parking lot. And he said, oh, I'm going to be a hardo and not wear a helmet. And then the first shot that Biz hit him with, he was like, whoa. Like, he actually physically went, whoa. It was crazy watching these guys get hit. The early shots from Witt were so fucking funny. Him hitting Kirk early, he spun Kirk's helmet around his head. And Kirk, rightfully was like, what the fuck, dude? You just laid me out it was way before the whistle. So, yeah, great stuff for Surviving Barstool. A lot of drama. Obviously, we're now in the part of the game where people are crying. People are feeling real hurt, backstabbed, betrayed. After Clemmer got eliminated, I texted him. I said, great dramatic exit. Rest in peace, I said.
That was great.
And he said it was not planned. They just legitimately felt that hurt. He's giving Dave the, he's hitting his heart. He's like, I would have worked with you.
I didn't notice the heart thing until Dave said it. And then when he did that, I just started cracking up. But Dave, of all people, is just going to laugh at that in the end. But, I do, that hurts when a guy like Clemmer, truly didn't see it coming and truly had your back. And, again, when the jury comes.
The Pizza 4. He was calling them the Pizza 4. He was saying Francis is he's not Pete Best, but he could be the 5th Beatle.
Clemmer just cracks me up. And I don't know if I've laughed at anything as hard as early Ryan Whitney. Just continuing to hit people before the go or the fight. I just was dying fucking laughing between that performance, the slingshot where he looked like a weak old man, and then the fucking goal performance where he was just rifling fucking handballs into the goal.
200 miles an hour, yeah.
And I mean, if I think most people at Barstool, if you've met Wid, I think he's like one of my favorite people here. He's just such a
Yeah,
good dude, and he's just fucking funny in his own special way. I don't know what it is. He just has the personality, and I look forward. I'm like, oh, we're gonna hang out with Wid tonight. And Kirk, I think Kirk obviously hams things up when he's losing his mind. He knows
of
there's not gonna
course.
be a fight. He knows he has two fight. He's a literal offensive lineman who will block him from getting into a fight with anybody.
And I
So
was
he's
thinking, watching that, I was like, if you don't know these people, which so many people watching Surviving Barstool actually don't, it's so like perfect. You're like, oh my god, that guy actually wants to go out into the parking lot and fight him. And it's like, I don't think Kirk actually wants to fist fight Ryan Whitney. That like they're two of the best friends at Barstool, and it's like so funny to watch through the different lenses as well. My family is still watching it because they were watching for me, but now they're just hooked and now they're invested and they're asking me questions. And my mom wants to know Gilly's whole history. And she's like, tell me how Gilly got to Barstool. And I give the whole rundown of Lil Wayne was stealing his hooks back in the day. He really has a case to say that. And like, it's crazy, but it really is. When Dave pitched it as one of the best things that Barstool's ever put together as a full, complete production, I truly believe that. I think you don't have to be a Barstool fan at all. You could watch it and enjoy it as amazing, juicy, drama-filled reality TV. But if you are a Barstool fan and you know the history of Dave and Rico through 10 years, and you watch them face off last night, and they give that little, I said it was like WrestleMania. You're watching the promo beforehand, and then they face off, and Rico throws the thing and flexes on him. It's like, that's fucking Barstool history right there. Like, you got to appreciate that if you're a longtime Stoolie.
Yeah, the story is just so much thicker. It's like if you've watched some of the Star Wars shows before the movie, if you saw Batman before Penguin, right? Same kind of thing. It just brings so much more into it. And the technicality, I was calling it technicality joust because it was like
It was.
there was really no jousting.
It
It
was
was like
power slap.
he hit him
How
too
like
early.
half
He
the
hit him
time
too late.
power slap, it's a foul. Yeah.
Yeah, he touched his joust platform before the other guy hit the floor. Did anyone else notice this? I'm pretty sure, unless the editing was like changed the sound, Will Compton went early on one of his rounds. Clearly, it was
Oh,
like
did he?
one fight. It was between the one and the fight. And I feel like Will Compton clearly went early. And I rewound it. And again, I don't know if there's anything with the way they edited and Jeff's voice not lining up, but it was clear as day. And I'm surprised. Portnoy will try to find every little inch he can to gripe about. I'm shocked no one
Maybe they were
called it out
just
on
so far down. He was like, let me save the team the CTE and just
that's the thing. I think everyone's heads were ringing by that point, so I think everyone just wanted to be done with it. Because again, the thing about Barstool is like even our athletes have usually been retired for a little while.
Yeah.
They're not the most athletic people compared to the rest of the people in their field, maybe. So it's like huffing and puffing. And that
poor Roan too. Roan got lit up too.
Oh,
Who was that? By Will? By Biz? It was one of the big guys that he faced off with, and I was like watching it with Lady Fox, of course, and I was like, oh no, poor Roan, look at him. And yeah, he got hit with like the 1-2. It was like boom, boom.
I thought Rowan was going to have, because he's a smart guy, he'd find a way to kind of weasel his way into a win. So that's kind of what I was looking for.
No, him putting the helmet on, I could tell the look on his face was just like he's like a gladiator being sent out to be killed.
Yes, that's probably true. The game where they had to roll the balls, that was one of my favorite games from the first season or second season, last season. And this one, I think the Chicago office was too big because I do think there was a lot of fun about getting the balls from point A to point B. And then this season, it just became who's going to fall off the platform on, I think it was the Gilly team, right? And
it was. And Mincy was all of a sudden great at that one. Lights out.
Kaiser Mincy, like he looked like he was just unbelievable. He was playing the long game on everybody. And I did come to a point, I'm like, holy shit, like Mincy is a good poker player for all the shit he takes. And like you can't just be a straight up dum and win poker. And I'm like, is this how he wins poker? Is he just
thinking that much during like playing with Mincy being on his tribe? I wasn't really thinking like maybe he could read our lies because he could read faces in poker. But
but he's also Mincy at the same point, which watching his reaction in the hotel room or the Airbnb, and like he's probably talking to the TV right now, and he's just
laughing. He was, them naming their tribe after Mince.
Yeah,
also Billy Wonka, what a great tribe name.
Great tribe name. They said he's like, are you rooting for Team Mincy? Because we named the tribe after, and if someone named their tribe Clem, even if it was mocking me, and my other team voted me out, I would 1,000% be rooting for Team Clem. 1,000%.
Yeah, you gotta. And it's one of these things where I watch a decent amount of like Barstool content. I love it still. But a lot of people at Barstool will kind of avoid it because I feel like it's like you're around it all the time. You're jaded to it.
Mhm.
Nobody at Barstool is avoiding Surviving Barstool. Like everyone is locked in. There was people involved in the game that were talking about it in the office the other day, and people not involved in the game were getting mad about spoilers. They were like, I don't care that we work here. We don't even want to know. Like there's a lot of just good vibes around the entire show right now. It sucks that they're going to take this 2-week break and we're all going to be fiending for it, because even right now, Friday night, I'm like, I wish we had another episode tonight.
I didn't realize there was a 2-week break coming
I
up.
know we're doing the Invincible thing to people.
Oh, that's
Christmas.
You
It's the
just broke my
Christmas week
heart
break.
live on the pod, Bob. You broke
Yeah.
my heart live on the pod. I mean, it makes sense. So we have next week, right? We have
We
the
do
week
have
before
next week, yeah.
Christmas, and then we have a break. I'll be busy those 2 weeks, so that'll help. I won't even be home for a week. So, oh man,
And everyone keeps hyping it up. Everyone just keeps saying it only gets crazier from here.
yeah, and I truly have no idea. I don't want to know spoilers, so I have no idea who wins it. And like again, I had talked to you at one point, and you said you hadn't won, so I was like, "Fuck, my guy's gonna." You said you were off pretty early. Other than that, I have no clue. And you said this after they wrapped. You go, "This thing is so well done. We could just become a reality TV company."
Yeah.
And like we are kind of a reality company. That's kind of the difference between Barstool and everyone else is you have these weird looks into people's personal lives, and we are just like normal dudes and ladies. But it's to the next level, and they do such a good job editing. And I mean, let's be honest, egg on their face, the editing team not having that Francis thing. I know you have to figure out a story, and if the person's not there, I just would love to know who went through the bag, how it all happened. And I have no clue. But it was like very weird. I'm like, Francis is a smart dude. And I know sometimes he gets in his own head about stuff. So maybe that's why he said something. And then it's like, oh no, I'm happy he wrote the blog. Again, I think if shit happens on the show and someone feels some sort of way about either the way their character was portrayed or the way something happened, we'll just come in. You don't get that with the other reality shows. They're not writing blogs and doing podcasts as this stuff is going on a lot of the time. So I do think that's a very unique thing about Surviving Barstool that we have.
And even Dave put that out. Dave is putting out the extra stuff and getting behind it as well. It's not even like that would be like frowned upon because it goes against the narrative. Like it is a nice place where you could just go write that blog and we have the footage like that. But I get it. They had so much footage that they had to sift through. It's like everyone has, Dave said even today on the Unnamed Show, everyone has probably 10 conversations that they wish could have been in there, but weren't ultimately super vital to the narrative. So it is what it is, but they're doing a great job with it. It's back on Tuesday at 8 p.m. And then we've got Skeleton Crew Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's like a nice, I went one right into the other this Tuesday. So I like that. We will be back next week to break down some more Skeleton Crew and Creature Commandos, and we'll see you then.